How unrewarding is it when you just spread your efforts into multiple mediums thinking that it's actually going to be of benefit and you simply don't have any clients knocking on your door? It is incredibly annoying when we are never told that our effort is almost a direct return of what we put in. So that basically means that if you spread yourself across different mediums with different messages, that is you diluting your message and diluting your value. And because of that, often people don't get to notice it because there's 10% of you on this platform, 10% of you on this platform, 10% of you are somewhere else. Then you also do 10% physical outreach. And then you just never get to be the authority, the trustful figure in one specific place or one specific format across different platforms. Because I'm not saying that you shouldn't be putting yourself out there on different platforms, but the message and the core value should always stay the same. It's the same message because you're the same person, the same service. There is slight difference on the approach to platform. Like Facebook would be slightly different to Instagram, but majority of efforts and value needs to stay sticking with the same exact message, because then otherwise you're just spreading yourself out here for the world to take you. But because you're spreading yourself out, there is not much flavor left when a person stumbles over you at given specific point where you've spread yourself out. And that is a big problem that we forget, because we think that covering about broad range of topics, broad range of um, niches, or broad range of audience is actually of benefit. But the counterintuitive argument is that you will need to specialize to help for one specific problem, for one specific scenario. And once you get amazing at it and you build trust and authority in this topic, and you choose the exact framework that you work people through, and you simply do that, nothing else. You don't try to do weight loss for fat people, you try to do body gain for skinny people, then people that don't do sports, you try to figure out how to help them. No, you kind of dial in onto one specific problem and you become authority amongst those people. And then that's when you get to shift, because you will never stay with the same exact thing for a long time, but you get to shift. It's kind of, think of it as trying to aim for multiple different targets. And with archery, if you aim for multiple different targets, which one are you going to get? If you're just aiming for five of them and you shoot kind of in the middle, it might even just zoom past and not hit any of the targets. But if you choose one specific target, and that target is your audience and your niche and your message and your specific value that you're offering, specific framework that you're working with, you dial that in, you maximize your efforts to make sure that you hit right in the center of that target. Focus, do the work, shoot, and you are more likely to get right in the middle. It was way easier to get your arrow into the center of the target when you focus all your efforts into getting it specifically exactly there. You can't hit a target you don't aim at, and that is the reality. And we often forget it because there's so many shiny objects online and so many ideas, so many strategies on putting yourself out there, getting the client, that we forget how all the effort is all over the place. And as a consumer, we can see it, But once we start creating, we become blind to it, and it's a big problem. We often start to focus on the things we can offer rather than the things that we're best at. Because the solution here, the one piece core solution is look at what strengths you have, look at who you are, what have made you in this storyline that you've lived that makes you truly you, and build on that. There's certain specific strengths that you have because of the life experiences that you went through, and those are the experiences that you leverage to other people and help them become stronger in the exact same way you've done. There is very it's a very directed arrow like effort where you identify that you're the strongest at these two three things. And I say two three simply because you can't, as a human, you have to have more than one strength, and you have to focus on more than one strength and create a blend of them. Because if you have just one strength, you kind of like vanilla ice cream. You're just good at singular thing. But we're, as humans, we're not very one dimensional. We need to be multi-dimensional, so we have the complexity to our character. We find the one thing that you're great at and secure that in your medium to build trust on top of that. Because once you secure your strength, people will know you as the strong person in that specific idea or that specific approach. And also, you have to make sure you know your weaknesses. Your weaknesses are, you can't say your best friend because that's who you avoid, but it would make more sense to say it's your enemy, right? And that is basically all you need to do, because its most important thing is to play with your strengths and avoid the weaknesses. If you need to go with your weaknesses, ideally you prefer someone else doing it for you, which is a strength for them. But because we're talking about coaching and personal branding, for now you need to focus just on your strengths. And when you create this interaction based on your full strengths and your story and your narrative that you've built for yourself, and now you're putting yourself out there to help people, that is when you build trust, because people can relate to your story, people can see your strength, people genuinely can sense that this guy knows what he's talking about, because you're so specific, so directed into this specific core problem that many people experience. And that is when you build authority, and that's when you build brand, and that's when you build all the security around clients genuinely wanting to work with you because they enjoy your story, they enjoy who you are, and it will be just an uphill from there. Once you simplify everything down, once you boil it down to first principle, there is small room for error. And when there is small room for error, there is possibly no error. Like, if it's hard to do wrong, then how are you going to do wrong? Like, how are you going to make all the mistakes if it's hard to do mistakes in the scenario that you're trying to put yourself through? So focus on one thing, focus on your strengths, leave weaknesses behind, and do just one thing. You need to focus on one target, just one singular target. Put your all effort into that and shoot your arrows until you start hitting every single one of them. You can do it. I know you can, because many people have, and they're no special than you are. We all are special, but they're not as special as you are, because this literally, this approach means you simplify everything down, make it very simple so that you cannot fail. So don't fail because you can't fail. Have fun.